Welcome to Entrepreneurs Are Leaders podcast with Harry Sardinas. Interviews with world's most influential entrepreneurs that share tips about how to grow your business exponentially. Charismatic speaking, leadership, branding, marketing strategies designed to help you monetize your knowledge, find true happiness, and manifest your goals and dreams.
So welcome to Entrepreneurs and Leaders podcast, and today we have a serial entrepreneur, Philip, that is going to share with us his journey. So Philip, the first question that we want to ask you is, tell us about your beginnings, why you decide to become an entrepreneur, and tell us what happened, what was your early beginnings?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And for me, entrepreneurship was an evolution, right? Really, before I got here. So, a little bit of background. I was born and raised in a city of international commerce, which is Hong Kong, and moved to the United States when I was 9 years old. So I was actually supposed to take over my dad's accounting firm in Hong Kong, but I said thanks, no thanks. Because one, I didn't want to wake up in the city, and two, I didn't want to wake up and do people's taxes. So when he was like, "Okay, kiddo, what do you want to do?" I said, "I have no clue. Let me explore the medical field." And at the time, being a surgeon really resonated with me, right? Like the hands-on aspects, intellectually challenging aspects, as well as the lucrative career. So, as I got more and more immersed within medicine, I realized that long-term, it probably would not be a good fit for me. Now, growing up in Hong Kong, I've always had, I was always groomed to become a business person, right? Because I was meant to take over my dad's accounting firm. So, I did always have in the back of my mind, a lot of business ventures I would maybe do in the medical field, whether it be biomedical devices, medical products, etc. But again, the training process really did not resonate with me, personally speaking, in terms of everything once I kind of learned a bit more. And so, that was really the reason I started looking closer at entrepreneurship itself, like just all things business, And so it took me some time to reflect. That's kind of what I did during my master's to make sure that I would be well equipped before I actually made the official transition and jump to leave medicine. Because it was something that I don't want to say I struggled with, but I personally battled, because I had invested, I was KU's triple major in 5.5 years, pre-med triple major in 5.5 years. And I was looking to do my master's before medical school. So there was a lot of investment, right? Time, energy, and effort already in this surgery career path.
Study a lot, right?
Study a lot, right? But for me, what I realized was because I had to take the new MCAT at the time, which was, brand new, 8 hours, right? Just to do a mock exam. So, the only time that I got to actually speak to someone, Harry, was when I would go maybe take a food break, go get my Starbucks, and I would be like, "Here's my order. Thank you for the order." And then I would go back, right? And as you can see, that naturally diminished my personality because I have a natural business personality, right? So I did not like what it was doing to myself, my own happiness. And I was like, man, there's got to be some other ways that I can, make a career out of myself and out of life without having, without feeling so stuck, so to speak. So that was really one of the many factors that prompted me to really start brainstorm, okay, how can I get my foot in the door with business?
But then what happened? Because, like, for example, my parents are teachers, so they are no entrepreneurs. So they would told me I got a degree in chemical engineering. I never worked as a chemical engineer, but this was what my parents thought that was the best thing for me. So they told me, go to university, study, and you're gonna be fine in life. But again, I was lost in the university. Not mean lost, but I did the degree, and I didn't achieve the highest marks. Yeah, I was distracted all the time. Probably more busy chasing girls.
Right. During college.
And paying attention to the subject. So. Right. I was in fact, I wanted to be a software developer, but in Cuba, when I did the degree for university, then I didn't have the mark, so that's why I had to get the second option, which was chemical engineering, which it was great because it was full of girls. Looking back, it was better than the informatics, and the informatics they had to study more. I mean, the chemical engineering was more easy for me,
Right.
but sometimes you had to follow what the culture have, what your parents are advising you. In your case, it was a dream of your parents to become that you become a doctor, a surgeon, or your parents they were happy as long as you study a degree. Or on the other hand, they were entrepreneurs and they didn't want you to study university. They want you to start your own business from the early beginning. What was your case?
Yeah, well, a great question. So I had, was pretty blessed in the sense that I had pretty open parents. Now, the funny thing is, yes, I was able to venture and basically decide on my own, right? But it was like as soon as I decided that surgery would be like the thing that I would go after, it slowly over time, seemed to me that it was more important to them than it was important to me, right? Like even though it was my own decision. Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, that obviously has something to do with that as well. And so, yeah, I mean, when I went on for my master's degree, I specifically went after, the applied statistics, data science, and analytics program, because that was the only program that if I did that, it would allow me to have a bridge to business and a bridge to entrepreneurship because of applied statistics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but really, like, that was a guise for me. That was an excuse for me to internally go figure things out. You know what I mean? Like when I was going through that master's of science, it was also for me my own MBA program, not your MBA in the traditional sense of a master's of business administration, but in the sense of going after a massive bank account, right, in the real world and figuring out what's the best way to do it. So while I was busy with master's work, I was really, exploring different mentors, either, through books, audiobooks, or online. I think I mentioned to you backstage at one point, I was binge watching a lot of Shark Tank episodes because Mark Cuban, a fellow billionaire who owns an NBA team, was one of the sharks. And for me, I went to the University of Kansas, which is a very big national powerhouse in basketball around USA. So, I developed this personal desire also to own an NBA team. So my initial thought was, maybe I would be a team physician, right? Like a team doctor, and I can operate on players, and I would be around the NBA. But I realized that long term, I would still only be on the outskirts. I would not be, as involved the way that I would envision myself to be. So that's really when I was like, okay, I really have to make the jump to business itself, because, if I really want to be super immersed, I need to go after and figure out how I can become an NBA team owner myself, right? Now, in order to do that in today's markets, you need at least like $5 to $10 billion.
Minimum.
Minimum. And a surgeon salary is great, Harry, right? $500,000 plus minus a year USD, but that's not going to get the job done. $500,000 versus $5 billion, right? Is so really like a lot of these things started clicking for me, like my own personal desires to own an NBA team or be around the NBA, being Jayhawk raised in Kansas. But a lot of those factors really allowed me to reflect, right, during that master's program, to go after mentors, to learn as much as I can around business, to enhance my own business acumen. Also, please remember, I graduated in this December of 2016. So there was a lot of, beginning ripple effects of the transition between the old world and today's new world in terms of being very digitally immersed, right? There was the start of social media, digital marketing, basically tying in the global economy in a more streamlined way. And so I knew that I had to, maintain the attitude of always learning. So I wanted to, before I jumped out into the wild, right, I wanted to be equipped, right, first and foremost with the right information. And I did that basically my entire master's program up until the semester I was supposed to graduate, right? I was supposed to take this comprehensive exam alongside taking a semester of business analytics. I remember vividly, I was like, why would I analyze business as opposed to doing business? Because that's what business owners do. They actually do business. So I actually, I think I completed the master's at like 95%. And I actually never officially graduated because in that last semester, it was a summer semester of 2021. I was 28, and that's when I went ahead and I forwent my master's degree, and I opened up my LLC to start.
Wow, that's brilliant. So almost you got so was very very little left for you to graduate as a doctor, right?
It was very long for me to become a doctor.
No. So you were very close to actually end your
Going
study.
to medical school. Yeah. I mean, if I had continued the path, what I would have done is I would have graduated my master's, and I would have prepared for the process of entering into med school. So it was like that pivotal point where I'm like looking at the 4-year commitment for med school, and then of course an additional 5 years for residency, maybe 1 or 2 for fellowship. So I'm looking at like another decade's worth of commitment. So I was like, before I really do this, like I need to make sure that I'm getting myself, I'm making the right decision, so to speak. Either I go all in or I pivot and I do the business thing. And I'm glad I did the business thing.
However, it's important to have big goals, right? Like this, for example, from very early age, you had that dream behind your mind that you want to own an NBA team. And maybe that drive, right, is how define the personality and have take the decision of the business that you do today, because you have to, yeah, exactly. Like you said, that we are in order to own an MBA team, you have to be, you're talking about a lot of money. So you have to start a business that actually provide you a lot of money for you to have a minimum chance of that. Yeah. So what research did you did in the market, and what was the idea of businesses that you decide to do to get you closer to that?
Yeah, so I actually did not start, doing what I'm currently doing now, right? It was an evolution, Harry. So when I first pivoted into entrepreneurship, as you kind of alluded to, right? I was a serial entrepreneur because I had to figure out, what is it that I could really lean on. And so I actually dabbled with crypto. I made some money with cryptocurrency. I made some money with luxury timepieces. But ultimately, I really figured out as an independent business owner that, all of these things are great, but I wanted something that would contain substance and depth to the conversation, right? I felt that, it's cool to have a nice Rolex, a nice Lamborghini and talk about cars and watches, etc. But if you don't have the substance, right, to back up those conversations, I just feel like it's too superficial and too materialistic. So what I realized was, by learning from different mentors and exploring different subject matters within business, I really enjoyed leaning towards leadership development. Because to me, leadership is a very underrated skill set, and it's also very applicable in life, no matter if you're in business or not, right? Like if you are a older brother or a younger brother, if you are someone's husband, someone's wife, someone's friend, you could be a leader in the sense of being a better role model, creating inspiration and motivation around, to those around you. So and this kind of also piggybacked off of the mentors that I really started to lean in on, right? During the course of those master's program that I told you about, I found about 20 different online mentors, right?
Wow.
And what I realized was it was like business dating, so to speak, business mentorship exploration, right? So I found about 20 resources, and then I was like, okay, now that I have this wide spectrum, now let me narrow it down to the best, handful of resources. So John Maxwell was one of them.
Wow.
And John Maxwell really resonated with me, right? With his content, and also like just the whole importance of leadership, because I played all the basketball, right? So, being a point guard, you're the floor general of the court, right? But also, whether if you're an NBA player, an NBA coach, or an NBA owner, guess what? Leadership is very important. So,
Totally.
so I really, started. I would say my official start in entrepreneurship was when I decided to become a leadership development specialist. Right now, on top of that, whatever strengths I had, I would look to either enhance, and I would also look to fill in the gaps of certain weaknesses if I felt like certain things could be done better. So I continue to invest in myself, continue to be immersed with resources that would help guide me, and also position myself, for success, as much success as possible by immersing myself in high caliber rooms with high caliber business owners. And so it was because of the fact that I was well prepared. I went after my own skill sets, my own journey. I had some experience as a business owner. It was at one of these high caliber business events that I ran into my current business partner now, where he was a former internal medicine physician, born and raised in London, actually.
Oh wow!
And he left medicine. He figured out these markets.
That's why you connect with him.
Yeah, so there was a medical commodity. There's some personal, commodity as well. So we really hit it off. And I did not even see myself as president and CEO of this joint venture that we're now engaged in, because at the time I was really interested in learning how he approached the market. So I actually started as a client first and foremost.
Wow.
And what happened was, Harry, in the first couple of months, I learned how to take a couple $100s to over several $1,000s, which is great. But more importantly, very significant compared to the intimate conversations that we had that allowed us to draft up I would say a trial relationship with the business partnership, so to speak. And during this trial, he delivered, I delivered, and now the rest is history. So, and we've now been in business for over a year and a half now. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations. That's amazing. And I think in the end of the day, you will. It's all about trying to find that passion, trying to discover this passion, and also to work with people that you like and trust. I think that the collective effort when you're in business is way more powerful, because you can move forward faster if you are aligned with the right person.
That's right.
So,
well, one of the biggest things that I picked up in business, right, either directly or indirectly from these billionaires that I would learn from and multimillionaires, is that, no matter what vehicle of business we're in, Harry, right, speaking, investing, doctor, lawyer, engineer, restaurant owners, that's your vehicle of business. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're all in the people business.
mm-hmm.
So if you're able to know how to manage personalities, get along with different personalities, speak to different personalities the right way, you'll be able to ink deals and partnerships a lot more easier and effortlessly, because again, we're in the people business, right? So
yeah, and this is come to the emotional intelligence. There are people that they are more naturally have that emotional intelligence that will help them to be more a people person, more outspoken. But I saw this all over the world that there is the biggest fear in the world is the fear of public speaking. People, even in London, they do surveys that people prefer to die rather than to speak in public. But if you actually embrace it and you decide to speak with the strangers, I think that the reason why everyone is afraid about speaking in public is because when you are a kid, your parents told you don't talk to strangers, right? And then when you do public speaking, you have to speak, or you are in business, you have to speak with the strangers all day long. So there is a barrier, right? So what gave you this confidence because I can tell that by your personality, that you're someone that, at least now, you're not shy, you're very open, you're very approachable and willing to speak with people about any topic. So were you always like that, Philip? Or
that's a great
evolution?
Definitely, I would say I was blessed with a natural business personality growing up, being an extrovert. I was an athlete, growing up as well. And
to be an athlete, yeah.
Yeah, and I was also, when I was really young, one of my sister's ballet instructors, her husband did magic shows. And so at a young age, they recruited me to help with their magic shows. So I was, exposed to like a room, an auditorium full of people, doing, helping, with certain magic stunts or tricks, etc., being on stage. So to me, it's always kind of come naturally with my personality and my background and experience, and that's why I've always knew that I would probably do something in business. I just figured, maybe I would go be a surgeon first and I would do something like business with medical. But then again, of course, I realized that was not the best fit for me. And then I just did all things business.
So you're passionate about investing. Where this passion came from?
This passion came from the fact that I was able to meet my business partner, right? The people business, getting connected with with people more ahead of me who were more successful than me, and learning about it. Because if I was not at that event and I would have shaken his hand, I would have never known about this field. What we're talking about specifically, right, is short-term investing within the futures and commodity financial markets. This is a game that a lot of hedge funds in America, right, utilize to create a lot of wealth. Now, colleges do not broadcast this information because colleges, traditionally speaking, are meant to produce employees, right? And so, for us, getting access to this information, and providing it to the public, right, that is part of our mission and vision. And, I'm just blessed that I was able to meet the right person who showed me that, something like this exists in a way that got my attention, right? Because if he was not a fellow, internal medicine physician who was also a city boy born and raised in London, like certain of these factors, that may not have clicked as well for me. So I think the passion for this subject matter expert didn't just arise from the topic. It arose from how I got exposed to it, right? The channel. And that channel was my business partner who I met in person, right? And an event where we connected. So sometimes, Harry, it's about, the things that set up the message as well, I would say, for that person to receive the message. And when I realized, the transformative powers that lies within the futures and commodity financial markets, and I'm able to witness, my business partner's ability to clear someone's annual salary in half an hour in the mornings every single day, because it's amazing. But remember, right, we come from the medical field. So, there's certain discipline, there's certain factors that when we are able to, let's say, convert to a medical analogy, that I was like, okay, yeah, that's why this is happening. So the way I describe it is my business partner has cultivated the ability to perform surgery on these markets, right, with world-class precision. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, if there weren't these factors to connect all the dots, I don't think it would have made them, it would have gotten through to me. And so that's what I would say that where the passion comes from is, not only the subject matter itself, but who I'm learning it from, right, as well as the relationship with that person, bringing us back to the people business.
Yeah, and then following this, but always in the back of your head, you have this, you will wire for a kind of finance, for a kind of entrepreneur that have to do with finance, because you study mathematics, you decide to study mathematics and statistics, which is a probability, which is something that
that's right.
you have to follow to identify market trends.
Yeah.
In the
data science. So yeah, data science was a very heavy aspect of the curriculum as well.
Yeah, but but you did enjoy those subjects, right?
I did not. What about those subjects?
Did you enjoy these subjects?
I actually, yeah, no, that's a great point. No, the subject itself. See, I think the subject itself, it could be enhanced, right, in terms of either boring or interesting by the person teaching it, right? So I did have some good professors that made the subject more interesting, but I also had some, that made that put me to sleep. I'm just going to be real. And at the end of the day, that's why again I kind of go back to like the environment that you're receiving the message from. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think I was naturally interested as well because I knew I was like statistics and probability, is something important in business as well. So I basically went through that program, even though it was under KU Med, like thinking business all the time in the back of my head. And so yeah, by doing that, it gave me the exposure to more organizational and categoristic thinking. Because categorical analysis was one of the courses that I had to take. So being very structured and organized with data, and then now obviously being in the investment space, I kind of, there were certain correlations that I was able to make.
I can see, yeah.
But more important, and of course, I did also get exposed to more so the back end of like statistical code that would apply to stocks and stock analysis. But stocks to me is not that interesting because, it doesn't move that fast, right? Futures and commodity financial markets is very different day in and day out. But more importantly, it's very lucrative due to its inherent risk and volatility, right? Like and that's why most people tend to shy away from them because they simply don't know how to deal with that risk. It's like, unless you're a seasoned pro surfer, you would be scared about these waves, these tsunami waves, like the seas. Except when you actually know what you're doing, then you won't be scared. You're excited to go tackle, and surf those waves, right? So that's kind of how I view it, is, if you're able to learn in the right environment with the right personalities, then a subject matter that would normally be boring could come to life just by those little tweaks, right? So yeah, that's probably why I enjoy it so much more because of the people that I get to work with. It's like, remember when you were a kid, Harry, and like your mom or your parents would say something to you and you'd be like, but then you hear it from like a friend and then you
want to do it.
because you're like inherently, maybe when you're a teenager and you're going through those rebellious phases, you don't want to deal with your parents at all, even though what they're saying is correct. But then you hear the same thing from your friend and you're like, and you're more open.
But then the thing is that, there is something very important in your career that I want to enhance. Is like you said that you look for 20 mentors or 20 coaches, right? And this says a lot about you because what we see in a lot of entrepreneurs is that they have that ego that they think, I'm going to do my business and I'm going to do it on my own. And then you find them suffering there and things are not working. And all they are is exhausted working 12 hours a day. So what made you to surrender and to come from this space that, hey, if I want to make money, I need to find a coach, I need to find a mentor, I need to find a group of people that actually have done more than me and learn from there, which is very humble. And this is, unfortunately, if no all entrepreneurs have this mindset, we wish they have, but this the mindset that we see in founders out there is, this is my business, I invented this business, I know everything, I don't need help from anybody. And you came from different space, and that's why you're growing so fast. So what message do you have for those entrepreneurs that they have the ego in the way and they don't allow?
Yeah, well, I would say, this is one of the huge wisdom point that I picked up was there's a difference with inward humility and outward humility. So whatever you're describing there, you're saying that they don't have much inward humility, right? And what I mean by that is the natural curiosity to learn more, the natural curiosity to go, I may not know everything, and the natural instinct to realize, because Harry, all of us growing up, we were put in the school system, right? So I think at a very beginning, young age, even starting in kindergarten, we were introduced to a mentor-mentee relationship. But not all teachers, would you say are great teachers, right, that you've encountered. So I feel like some of those experiences, maybe that have shaped people's influence and how they approach things. But the philosophy is really simple. If you're able to, let's say you have a goal that you want to achieve, and someone else has already been there and done that, right? Right. The key is learning from the person who's actually had success in the field. Sometimes you go through, the school system, and you're learning from people that maybe aren't the best inspirations for you. They're not the best role models for you. And that's maybe where, if you have enough of those, you're like, I don't need anyone else because, they're not really providing me with that much value. But if you're able to identify, let's say you want to become a real estate mogul and you're 20 years old. Well, I guarantee you there's someone that's already done it and they're still doing it, right? Who's 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, whatever. So why not, get in contact with them, pick their brains, but also be able to, bring something to the table. Like, hey, look, I'm just a kid, I'm young, I'm ambitious starting out. I would love to learn this. Obviously,
work, yeah.
Yeah, obviously you've been someone successful in this field. I don't want to detract from what you're doing and take away from your time. Is there a way that I can learn from you while also helping you so that, I'm not just a burden, right? A lot of people, when they try to make a request, a proposal, or the art of negotiation, when entering the art of negotiation, they just only talk and think about themselves. They don't consider the other person's win. They're not considerate to, the other person's time, energy, and effort. And I think, if you are able to think that way, have inward humility, right? And also be very considerate to what is a win for that other person, right? You can really go far in life because you can now compress the timeline required for you to be successful. Let's say it took that person 20 years to be successful. There's going to be a lot of speed bumps, winning lessons and losing lessons that they can share with you so that you can essentially compress, that path for yourself as well. But maybe a lot of people, they feel that they are better off on their own, again, because they have they have some struggle to relinquish control, right? And they think they know it all. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. So I think, it is definitely, first and foremost, a wisdom and an internal wisdom that needs to, be present, because it's hard to convince, right, someone to be helped. Like there's that old saying, right, Harry, you can lead a horse to water, right, and give it all the water that you possibly can, but if it doesn't want to drink it, it's still going to die.
From within, yeah.
So that's why I think before anything, venturing into a career of any kind, it's so important to dial in, like, what is the reason? What is your purpose? What is your why? You know what I mean? Because I'll be very real with you. Like, this is why business actually made me so happy. I went into surgery because at the time, the modality of doing surgery resonated with me, right? But really, I was like, I love the lucrative salary as a surgeon. Like, I will be the first one to say it. I got in medicine for the money. Absolutely. Like first and foremost, because I was supposed to take over my dad's accounting firm, but I was like, I don't want to do people's taxes, but how can I still have a lucrative career?
Out
right?
of my mono.
That's right. So, it was just one of those things that I realized, okay, like, I cannot be in medicine for business or for money, pure money. So then I got into business, and then I'm like, okay, well, how can I be more immersed where every single day, I wake up and I'm excited to do what I do. You know what I mean? So obviously, my personal goals and dreams of owning an NBA team, helps fuel that drive. But the subject matter, is very interesting. It's
and
very
eventually
exciting.
you will get there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Eventually you will get there. If you walk slowly toward that goal, the opportunity will come to you. Because I think that I have a friend that his dream is become the president of Ecuador, right? And he's a great entrepreneur. He's huge in real estate. And here's the thing, yeah. I know him for more than 15 years. And since I met him, he's telling me that he wants to be the president of Ecuador, that he will be a president of Ecuador. And guess what? All his life, because he had this goal so big, every decision in business he does, everything that he do, right? It has to be something that it has a large reward, because to run a political campaign, as we all know, you need a lot of funds. So I think that sometimes even without achieving your biggest dream, by pursuing the biggest dream, you can achieve 100 times of 1,000 times more than initially that
Right.
other people will achieve. Sometimes I do workshops and I ask the people, how much money do you want to make a month? And the people are telling me like 2,000, 3,000, and I'm like, you can say any figure. We are no, we're not conditioning, and we don't even say how you're gonna make it. You can say any figure, and I think the people said 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, because by default, people have a small goal, and obviously, if you have a small goal, then you will make this small goal happen. But if you are dreaming big and you're thinking in big goals, but pursuing the fact to achieve this big goal, then you have to play a different game. You have to
That's
make
right.
sure that you work in a business that you give you very little time and give you more profit, so you can use. And then if you're going to invest the money, you need to find the right strategy so that money grow faster than in the other vehicles.
Yeah.
And I think that this is something fascinating that you have, that all no people have. So, Philip, if somebody, everyone listening to this podcast, want to know more about you and want to know more about your pro Lightspeed investment, yeah, how they can find you?
Yeah. So just look me up, Philip Jayhawk Chan on LinkedIn. That's where I'm most active. And again, Philip Jayhawk Chan on LinkedIn. And there should also be in the link show notes, right? A Calendly link. It should just be calendly.com/Lightspeed Investing. Feel free to reference that if you want to, set aside some time to talk one-on-one about business, entrepreneurship, how we invest in the futures and commodity financial markets. We have some free resources that we offer as well at the firm. So feel free to reach out again, either through LinkedIn or through the link directly, and be happy to interact with you and answer all of your questions. Just please mention that you came from Harry's podcast, so I know exactly, how you got in touch with me.
Follow us for more on charismatic speaking, leadership, exponential business growth, branding, marketing, strategies designed to help you monetize your knowledge, find true happiness, and manifest your goals and dreams.